fell flat on his face. So it's definitely one of those. This is one of those maps where he really needs to make a miracle happen, guys. It's 2-1 in favor of this guy, spawning in the top position of Catalina. Our Red Terran player, one map went away from moving on. He is Acer's MMA. Playing pretty sloppy. Actually, both of these players throughout this series have been quite a scrappy fest. And this guy needs to win 2 games in a row now if he wants to keep his DreamHack winter hopes alive. From Team Dead Pixels, he is Patience.
All right. We'll see. I think MMA just has to be on top of his scouting. He has to know, is this a Colossus all-in, is this a Blink all-in, or is this something really weird?
And to back to our point right before this game started, Patience does have arguably the worst spawn you can get on this map. In the bottom right position, you know, if we pan out past the mineral line, there's a huge amount of airspace, and we saw even in the TVT series yesterday, the Banshees being tucked behind there. There's just, you know, there's actually, I mean, you look at it, it's pretty much an ocean of space, and there's, you know, there's a huge body of water there too. So
yeah, quite literally, it's an ocean of space. It's there is so much room back there that, I mean, if you're in a base trade, man, you better have enough money to build a Phoenix.
Yeah, this is not one of those maps, man. There's no that weird one spot where the stalker can go put itself to kill stuff. And I'm mostly curious now from MMA's side of things if we're actually going to see a barracks opening out of him. It's like, yeah, he opened up Reaper, right? He has his barracks, but mostly he's been going into factory play to some extent, be it that little Hellion run by or going for the Widow Mine drop. But he actually really seems to like this style, and the way that he did it the last map was a little bit like how he played versus Stardust in the Fragmite Masters. Just, I have really late stam, I have a really late extra barracks, but the few units I have, I'm going to constantly throw at you and keep you in your base. It's a way that, like, if you're a Protoss player that's not experienced with dealing with that type of play, I feel like it's very easy to fall apart.
You know, that's a very good point. We've seen in the past from some players, like, for instance, MVP comes to mind just a little bit where, you know, the prevailing theory is oftentimes like, oh, okay, I'm better than my opponent, I should play like a long defensive macro game and outplay him. But some Terran players in the past have decided, you know what, if I'm just a little bit aggressive, I can just pick them apart like that, and that's even going to be safer than trying to play safe.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how the metagame for all of that has rotated around in the last year or so. You had Terran players like, Photon Overcharge, I can't possibly attack into that. And now it's like, well, actually, with the way that a lot of these ramps work, those combat shield pushes, concussive shell pushes got super popular after we moved on to this map pool in particular. And then now it's kind of tapered out a bit, and Terran's like, well, I can still do drop play, which is still quite strong, and that's never really died down, especially in MMA's playbook.
Oh, certainly not. And once again, we are going to see that, no doubt. He is making his factory already here. Patience with a couple gases, not really giving anything away about what he wants to do, and a Robo goes up, so I'm going to go ahead and call, we're going to see a Colossus all in, but will it be the one with the Warp Prism? That one's fun. I would like to see that. I mean, immediately gives me nightmares thinking back to those PVT series at BlizzCon. Classic Colossus dropping versus Terran. He has, you know, absolutely no saw that in one of those games in San Jakshi, so it apparently can work. It's not the kind of strategy that I'd call for, but MMA, if he were to get this Reaper in, if he were to scan, he really wouldn't see anything too shocking just yet. You know, even the thing is with that robo timing, that's not even, it's not even weird. You know, he could go into a macro game with a robo timing like that. So
it lines up with enough gas to start an observer in his robotic space. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see here. This Reaper will get picked off, nice and comforting. It's okay. He shouldn't be able to see anything without having to burn a scan. And yeah, just waiting for that robotics bay to get plopped down. I think it's probably one of the strongest plays you can make on this map. Already even getting his pylon ready on the east side.
Oh man, pretty obvious what's going on here, Nathanius. But we do have MMA getting that first medevac out. He does have one Widow Mine, second one on the way, quite a few Marines as well. So he should be able to poke in and maybe start to read what's going on, especially if he flies over that pylon.
Yeah, that'd be a really great pickup for him. I'm kind of surprised. Patience has built up a nice little gas bank, still has not yet started a robotics bay. He's going to just warp in a few more stalkers forward. He's just actually trying to get the observer out as a counterplay to the Widow Mine drop. He's not even thinking about that 10-minute mark.
Wow, yeah, I guess you're actually kind of right about this. And in fact, Oh, wow. Oh, my God. This is actually an extremely old build. Right now, we are going to see aggression on both sides.
Oh,
a
that's...
huge mistake. A huge mistake there.
And the Widowmine actually burrows itself in the main, and it might be able to fire before this gets off.
Oh, he went after the gas probe. Yeah, it is a dud, in fact. And it looks like he will start pushing up right now with these Stalkers. This is a super old build that we're seeing going for this 3-gate Stalker aggression against a tech build. And, getting the Observer is huge.
Yeah, nice. Being able to deny that high ground vision. And he's still in the natural expansion with these Marines just firing away. And he's building a siege tank.
Yeah.
And this is actually, so good for MMA because there's no blink. So he can try to run past this, which I guess is like one way to handle it. But MMA will eventually build up enough units that he's going to try to dive on this. And he's actually said to himself, okay, well, actually, he might be able to break me. This is getting increasingly tricky here. I'm really interested in how Patience is going to make this work. MMA still, by the way, killing his natural expansion. That tank is almost ready.
That's right. The tank is going to be absolutely gigantic. He should be able to get enough units on that high ground. This Nex is probably going to be falling down. I mean, he has to go all in with this at this point, Patience does.
Yeah, I like this. He's not rushing to siege the tank, but the Stalkers are going to try to just snipe it.
He needs to snipe that, actually. A little bit missed micro here.
Nice pick up there with the medevac, and the SCVs get under repair. And it's like, yeah, you might run up and snipe this, but you're still going to lose a lot of your hit points in return. Having that pylon there, though, is...
it's huge.
Yeah, it's very important. Otherwise, he could just collapse on this, break out of the bunkers, bring his SCVs, kill all the Stalkers, and then he'd be way, way ahead because he's killed the natural of Patience. Patience is on. He's a one-base Protoss, and that's not a fun place to be when the Terran's hiding behind bunkers and has that second command center just waiting.
Certainly it is not, but without Blink here, and the fact that he has medevacs and another siege tank on the way, I feel like breaking the actual ramp is going to be...
borderline
not
impossible.
A good idea.
Yeah, like he's also too Stalker heavy. These SCVs are way more effective than they should normally be against a gateway attack like this. The medevac has brought back more forces. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to try to kill you right now. And these Stalkers, like you said, without Blink, and especially without anywhere to run, are all going to be cornered. The Zealot warp in, okay, it's cute, but he still has, I think, an overwhelming number of forces to take care of this with.
Well, it looks like that's it. GG, MMA gonna go ahead and take the series 3-1. You know, it looked kind of bad there, I guess, but the theory behind the build that Patience just did, I think it's totally fine. Like, MMA is always going tech. If you go 3-gate Stalker with an Observer against tech, and you get there before the bunkers, which he was there, but he was too busy at home microing to execute it. But if he had just focused on that, he would have broke those bunkers and had a better spot. Maybe not broken, but it's kind of cool to see him bring back some of these old builds in this series.